Hello, everyone. My name is Somy Ali, and I'm the founder and president of a nonprofit called No More Tears, with a mission to rescue victims of human trafficking and domestic violence. I want to make it very clear because a lot of people have been saying that for the past 20 years, I've been praising him, which I have not. I have probably said one or two good things about him because keep in mind, just because someone is good to you, they can also be bad to you. And the trolls and the naysayers who are not believing me and are deeming this to be a publicity stunt, let me inform you about something. The first time I talked about being sexually abused was 3 years ago to a journalist named, and I was sexually abused by a cook in the house in Pakistan. He was not a superstar. I was not trying to gain publicity through a cook from our household who was, I had 3 incidents of where he had sexually abused me. The second time I was sexually abused was by the Gorkha. I was 9 years old. Again, I was not trying to seek publicity by a Chaukidar or a Gorkha who was not a superstar. The third time was when I had moved to the US at the age of 10 or 11. I was raped by a high school student who was 17 years old in a park in Miami, and I was 14 years old, which is how I lost my virginity. It takes a lot for me to talk about this. It took years and years for me to come out with this. And that's why 3 years ago, I started talking about this, and I found it highly hypocritical that I'm rescuing victims of abuse, rape, hate crimes, domestic violence, everything that I have endured. And I myself deemed myself to be a hypocrite for not admitting to be one of them and being a survivor myself. So I want to state this clearly, that anyone who has an iota of literacy in them can understand that what trauma and PTSD does to a human being, and how long it took Ashley Judd and the victims of Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein, or many, many victims of sexual abuse and rape, to come out and share their truth. Therefore, it took me 20 years. Also, please, it is important to understand that just because someone is nice to you does not mean that they're nice to me or they're nice to someone else. We all have a lot of gray in us. None of us are black and white. We're neither good purely, nor neither bad purely. We're all gray. So I want to make this very clear that I'm speaking up after 20 years because it is important to do so, because Mr. Khan has provoked me by banning my show on Discovery Plus called Fight or Flight, which enabled us to rescue victims from India. 82% of the victims that we rescue are Indian women. 90% of our donors are Indian men and women. And Mr. Salman Khan has hindered this process by approaching Discovery Plus and banning our show in India. And this is why, after 20 years, it took me a great deal of courage to speak up, to save lives of Indian women, children, men, members of the LGBTQ community. He took this away from us, and this is why I spoke up. Other than that, I had not been speaking up against him, for him, about him. I was not saying anything. I had ended my relationship, and that was the end of that. So it is he who provoked this. It is he who initiated this. And this is why I want to clarify why I'm speaking after 20 years of remaining silent. And I want you guys to understand, and please educate yourself on trauma and PTSD and why it takes so long for women, for Hollywood celebrities or average women or men to speak up about their trauma and their PTSD. Thank you so much for giving me your time. And I do urge you to please, please do some research and educate yourself. And I hope you continue to support NoMoreTearsUSA.org. What I want in return from Mr. Salman Khan is to confess what he did to me, what he put me through, from the verbal, sexual, and physical abuse. And I want a public apology, which an egomaniac and a narcissistic individual will probably never do. And I want him to unban my show. And I want India to be able to watch what No More Tears does, what I have given my 15 years of blood and sweat in working and saving over 40,000 men, women, and children and members of the LGBTQ community, including pets. And I want Mr. Khan to look at himself in the mirror and ask himself this question: how can you say that you have never hit me or abused me? How can you live yourself knowing that you have done these things and blatantly deny them, and then have the audacity to ban my show? Shame on you. I hope that you find the grace in yourself to apologize publicly and to confess publicly what you have done and unban Fight or Flight, our documentary series on Discovery Plus. Thank you very much.